Hello and welcome back to the Northern Lights SMP. As you can see, we are in our iron gear with our wooden tools that we won in the last episode from our treasure hunts. And yeah, I want to keep the spirit of community challenges going on with today's build. And with that in mind, I've gathered some resources and I have a little kind of random block dropper, I guess is the best way of putting it. And yeah, I want to build it here in the spawn area. Maybe over in this section there is a skeleton right there. And the plan is that people can come down if they're not sure of what to use in a build. They can come down and use the dropper to get a random block. And we didn't use it last time, but I reckon here might be alright. So let's clear out a bit of a space. Oh, I guess we better try a suspicious stew while we need food. It was so quick, I have no idea what the effect was on that one. Okay, so this little kind of shrine that I'm thinking of is basically a chisel block with a dropper on top and with a button. Ooh, here we are. With a button, we should be able to set it up so when you press the button, you get an item. And we're going to fill this dispenser with a bunch of random blocks. And here is the selection of random blocks that I've chosen. Now we only have 9 that we can put in at a time, and I'll rotate these every so often. Some of these blocks are more challenging than the others, I would say. There are some really nice blocks like the bone and the dripstone and tough. I'm really liking using at the moment. There are some kind of accent blocks like the lamps and note blocks, but then there are some kind of trickier ones. The ore blocks I think are quite tricky. Netherrack could be quite tricky. And yeah, I'll be super interested to see how the server deals with this and see if anything kind of fun comes out of it. And I will be using it myself, so don't worry about that. In fact, we'll use it later on in this episode. So I think what I'll do is I'll build up my little shrine like this, and it's supposed to look like it's holding a block, which we'll try and do. And I think I wanted to we'll use a kelp block for that. So the little guy looks like this, and yeah, we'll fill in the area. We'll kind of texture it out and make it look quite fun, and let's see how it goes. So here we are with our random block little shrine, and this book just explains the process. So in the dispenser we will be using, we'll have random blocks. You run up, you press the button, and you get the block. And whichever block you get, you should include in your next build, and not just like, I'll put a single block there, but it should be ideally relatively well thought about and highlighted in your build. So I filled it up with some random blocks, and let's see what we get. Ooh, I got kelp. Okay, I'm happy with that. We got dried kelp, and yeah, that should be fun to challenge. So this area behind us is where we're going to work on the build today, and it's going to be very similar to the B base and our farm on the ground level part of it, but we're going to add a new spire kind of tower thing. So what I think I'll do is I will build the bases, and then I will bring you back to do the tower together. So we have the basic build in place at the moment, and you might be able to tell there is a big hole in the top there, and that's because that is where the tower is going to go. And this tower is going to be right here, and we're going to go up 7 on the sides, I think. So, and we'll do that on each of the sides with a gap of 3 in between. And we're going to, yeah, top it off like this, so it's got a jungle edging to it. And then in the middle here, yeah, we're going to take our dripstone, our acacia, our bricks, and our granite, and we're just going to mix them throughout, just like the walls in here. And we're still eating our suspicious stew from Callie's challenge. What is it this time? Fantastic. Blindness. Well, luckily, they don't last too long. And on this lower side here, we want a little bit of an interesting ledging, I guess. So to start with, we are going to up these by 1. Then we're going to grab some stairs and we'll do some upside down stairs there. And we'll do a slab here, here, and here, and an upside down stair on this side. We'll grab some spruce trapdoors and add them underneath, and if I can get it over there. Yeah, just gives it a little bit of a difference from the other roof line. With the spruce in, I think it looks pretty nice. So to start this tower, what we're going to do is we're going to add upside down stairs on each one of these and slabs in between them. And we're going to do that all the way around. And then in these corners, we are going to add trapdoors, as well as trapdoors here and there. And then in the middle, we are going to go slab, 4 block, and slab. Now for the first layer, we're going to go a single block, 3 blocks, 4 blocks, 3 blocks, and a single block. And then we are going to place stairs on the top of these, and these. And then on these ones, we're going to go a single block there, and then a double on this one. And we're going to do the stairs on them as well. So all the single blocks get stairs. And we're out of stairs. And we can't fly. Man, I will be looking forward to getting my wings back. Yeah, and on the top here, we will go 2 up. Then we will add a single wall. And add 2 fences on top. Yeah, and that is looking like a good shape. And now what we need to do is go in, and I think we want to add some moss, change the state of the copper as well, probably bring it back, maybe 1 or 2 in places, and kind of mix up the full and the cut blocks in there. So I think the tower is looking good with regards to the aged copper on top and a bit of the moss as well. I think what I want to do now is add at least 1 window, maybe 2, I'm not sure, but let's try that out together. So the first one, nice and easy. I want a window that is about here. Forgot the gates. Didn't make any gates. So right here, we are going to build out a little window. So we're going to put a gate on the top here and open it. And then we're going to punch out a 2 hole here and add a fence there. Then on one side, we're going to add these like shutters. And then underneath, we're going to add an upside down stair. And we're going to put a fence on each side. Yeah, and I think that looks like a nice little window. And we've still got to continue adding glow lichen and buttons around just to add a bit more depth and detail to the side. Now the question is, do we think we should have another window? It is on this layer. We could have one directly opposite. You know what? Let's do that. Let's have one on the opposite side. So the build is coming along nicely, but this is supposed to be involving kelp. And we added a little bit of kelp along here, and I think that's quite a nice change to the deep slate that is in our previous builds in this style. But what I wanted to do is make this a little kelp drying area, and I've planted some kelp in here. And I think what I want to do is make a little stairway up here so that easy for them to get down to the water. And just along here, I would like to build a nice little kelp drying mechanism. Now, it's purely going to be for aesthetics and not actually dry the kelp. But yeah, let's see if we can make this look cool. So it's going to look like this. We've got some fences, some campfires, and we have some trapdoors. And we're going to add the fences in here, and then alongside them we are going to add our campfires, and we're going to go 5 campfires along, another trapdoor and strip spruce. We will put out these campfires, and we can place some kelp on top of them. Then we're going to repeat the process of adding our campfires to make a second row, put them out, add some kelp, put our little spruce trapdoor combination, And I think we'll go for strip spruce in this case. And then I think we go another layer above that. So let's make these 4 high. And like I said, I think it's quite a fun little aesthetic to have these sort of air drying, I guess, on the outside. And I think this might be a nice idea, but because, you know, they're drying off and the kind of, I guess the byproduct is you get the dry kelp, but you might also get a lot of salt around there. And so I have these corals, and I'm going to go in and fill in some coral randomly around here. And as it dies, it'll start looking like kind of worn down stone. And along with this coral, we can add in bits of gravel. And I think it would be nice to add in some cracked brick like this. And then also some brick as kind of the main path. And I think the main path around this area should be brick. And then as we get close to the drying areas, we can kind of work in some more of the kind of cracked brick and the worn looking pieces. And kind of insinuate that, you know, as over time the salt drips off this, you're getting these cracked bricks replacing the full bricks. And I think I will continue this around the whole place, and particularly under here. I think under here we're going to strip this all back, replace it with the bricks, and use it as kind of a storage place, because I've got some kelp which we can pile up in one corner, and in the other corner I've got some white concrete powder, which I think does a pretty good job at looking like salt. So yeah, as I said, kind of insinuating the fact that as you dry this, you get the dried kelp blocks and the salt. I might switch those around so the kelp that's in the walls is not so close to the kelp that's supposed to be stored. Yeah, I think I'll switch those around. But yeah, let me work on this detailing. Let me work on the paths and everything around here, and I will bring you back at that point. So welcome back, and we have done a lot of detailing around, and I wanted to show it off for the end of this video, I guess. So as you walk in, we've got a little bit of a garden here. Most of the other builds around have a garden, so I thought would be good for them as well. And I've started to use a lot more of the bamboo in and around this area, and I think that is looking really nice. We also have 2 custom trees, a little bit smaller. These are custom trees I've done in a previous world where you just use fences and leaves, and I think it works really well in here, not so overpowering, because the build is supposed to be the focus, I guess, here. In the path here we have the dead coral and gravel and everything combined. Walking around here we have our little access to the water. I've used the iron gates, fences, iron bars, that's the word, iron bars, as like a kind of netted off area, so people can come in, farm their kelp, and kind of bring it back up to be dried. As you've seen before, the drying rack with a little bit of glow lichen around. And then as we come up here, we have our little storage facility, something for maybe cutting up the kelp into the right sizes. And well, there's nothing in here. I'm not sure what I wanted to do in there, so we just won't go in there. But I think the build itself is looking cool. The windows are looking fantastic. And if we tower up here, yeah, I do think this place is looking great. I think everything really works well together and just builds this area and gives it a bit of meaning. But before we go, I have a few things to do. We need to name some parrots, and we also need to get out of this armor and get away from these wooden tools. So we've got some name tags, and welcome to the world. Huey, Dewey, Louie, And of course, Dave. So thank you so much for joining me today, and we've got 2 more things to do before we finish. The first is the final one of our suspicious stews, which doesn't give us anything. Okay, cool. And yeah, the rest is to get rid of this armor, and yeah, we will do that now. But until next time, thank you so much for joining me, and bye-bye.